Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 40. Wow. Of the Becoming Chiron podcast, the key to unlocking healing and personal alchemy, with me, your hostess, Ursula Duffy. So, today's episode is going to be titled A Change in Direction. I am coming into you today, into your ears and into your eyes, into your hearts with a update on where I am post crowdfunding campaign, post episode 39, which was my Leo new moon call for creativity support back in the beginning of August. And I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to empirical things and experiments and data and analytics and that kind of thing. So I have had time now since that all ended on my birthday, on my 44th birthday on October 6th, to sit with the results of that. Part of it was really coming from a place of just kind of feeling out and getting evidence, data, whatever, on all of the things that I laid out in that episode. So, what I said back then was that I could no longer continue offering everything that I was offering for free. So the results of the crowdfunding campaign showed me where I need to make some changes and what I need to put behind the pause button, I guess, if you will, for a metaphor. So I'm going to talk about that today and where this project is going moving forward from today. And then we do have a couple of astrological heavy hitting things coming in the next week that I do want to touch on and where we're at as a whole, personally and collectively. And really, it all does relate very much to Chiron. So I think that's kind of where I want to start, just as we usually do. Today is Wednesday, November 13th, and I hit record right around 9:34 a.m. So I do have some notes that I want to get through, but essentially what this whole effort has really shown me, and it really wasn't something that I was expecting to be shown, which was kind of cool. As I always say, kind of throughout when I'm talking about Chiron and how Chiron works, and just kind of a throwback to my astrology teacher, he always said that Chiron is an inconvenient teacher. So that is definitely, as you all know, that is the original intention of this whole project is becoming Chiron and my lived experience of astrology. So of course I was taught, I was schooled. Chiron schooled me. So the big thing that has surfaced in all of this is I think I've gotten a little away from the heart of this project, and Chiron has called me back. So yeah, here are some changes that I've already started making moving forward. One is I've changed the hosting platform for the podcast to Substack. So now you can get all of the Becoming Chiron episodes, Astro-Weather checks on Substack. We have a Sea Goddess Healing Arts Substack now. So you can find us on there. So it'll still get pushed out. I'm gonna, like, when I'm done recording this, I'm actually gonna be working through my first ever publishing experience on that platform. So I believe it only does audio. I'm not 100% sure. But one of the things that kind of came out of this in the classes that I took a couple free classes, and I did actually learn quite a bit about some things that I'm not doing that I could be doing better. So I'm going to rework the format of the audio version a little bit. Right now, what I'm doing is just recording video and then pushing it out on Spotify, which separates out the audio for the platforms that are audio only. So I'm actually going to take, and I record this on Zoom, just, complete transparency. I use Zoom to record every episode because it's the best as of right now. So I'm going to take the audio recording separately and rework that a little bit and jazz that up and snazz that up a little bit more as I'm comfortable editing audio. I have a pretty good program on my computer for that. Not so comfortable with video. So if you're going to be watching the video only versions of this, Spotify is one platform for that, as well as our YouTube channel. You will get just, the plain video version. So that is changing. I'm also thinking about maybe a little bit of a title change to more encompass more of what I've been doing with this whole project, and maybe some cover art adjustments. I might actually want to do a little bit of drawing of it myself. And maybe I used to love to draw horses. So, funny enough, I could probably do a pretty good centaur. So, that's all kind of in the works at this point. And yeah, so I need to figure out that. Right now, I'm kind of straddling if I'm going to keep pushing video out on Spotify or if I'm just going to move that totally over to Substack. I'm not totally sure yet. I do really like video and I don't want to isolate that to just YouTube. So I'm still working through all of that, just so you all know there's probably still some changes incoming as I start moving forward in this new direction. So there's that. And I also learned different ways to monetize that I hadn't thought of before. So the next reworking new episodes moving forward will have the way that I've found and learned how to do that differently with a company that I 100% have loved and supported through my all of my aromatherapy studies. So you will be learning more about that in the coming episodes once I restart and reformat everything. So there's that as well, which I'm pretty excited about. I had not looked at things the way that I was looking at them before, as far as sponsorship and advertising. And there are other ways that are more actually more creative and give me a chance to introduce you to things that I've used all along the way since my aromatherapy studies that are actually, transparent companies and people who put things on the market that are actually have integrity and are whole products. And there's a lot of fakery out there in the essential oil world. So adulteration is what it's called technically. So yeah, that will be incoming once I restart everything. And I'm pretty sure at this point I'm scrapping the whole idea for season 4 with the introduction of an emotion and then kind of breaking that down and going through that hasn't really materialized the way that I wanted it to. So you have the one episode transmuting fear, and then the episode that I started this whole season off with, the plutonic process, which is actually something that's really important right now. So redirect. And then another big announcement that will be incoming with future episodes is I'm going to start having guests. I had somebody reach out to me and told me that she wanted to be my first guest. So I think that it's going to be a new format. And I already have kind of a framework put into place where we can draw from the episodes that I've already created. So pretty much all of season 2 and season 3 with Chiron through the houses and Chiron through the signs. And now we can start talking to people about pulling that information into their own Chiron placement. And that truly is getting back to the roots, getting back to the heart of this whole thing is the lived experience of astrology. So one thing that I did not do when I covered those topics in seasons 2 and 3 is I didn't go into there's more chapters in Barbara's book. If you're with me for the first time, in seasons 2 and 3, I taught essentially Chiron through the houses and Chiron through the signs based on the information in Barbara Hand-Clow's book, Chiron the Rainbow Bridge. And we went through all that material, but there's more in that book with Chiron and aspect to other planets, which is something that's very, very personal to me with Chiron squaring my nodes and all that. So I think it's time to level up. I've gotten a little comfortable, and I'm usually one to unknowingly get comfortable and then be shown where I need to push out of my comfort zone. That is definitely my own Chiron placement for sure. So we're going to do that. I already have my first guest. I think it's going to be a really, really heartfelt, intimate discussion because she's willing to talk about things. So I don't know when that is coming. I'm not sure timing wise or all the things I need to do at this point to get everything where I want it to be with the reformatting and the audio clips and all the things that I want to add to the audio version. So I have no idea right now when that the interviews will start, but moving forward, I think I'll just kind of get out of the whole season structure and just release episodes. And they will be kind of a mixture now of coming back to like season one, where I told my own personal stories, and, one, two, and three kind of merged together in this new format of interviewing people, which I'm actually really nervous, but also really excited about. So that's an area where I've needed to push myself a little bit, and I just sort of stayed comfortable. So lesson for all of you there on me and my personal experience. So what's going behind the pause button? Let me just make sure I covered. Yeah, okay, that's exactly where I'm at. So I'm right in alignment with my notes. The standalone Astro-Weather check episodes are pretty much going away as far as the bi-monthly timing of them. They will no longer be consistently done with every full moon and new moon. If you noticed, I did not do one for the Scorpio new moon back on November 1st. I think that based on everything that has materialized, the results of the crowdfunding campaign, my ROI, my return on investment of my time, is the lowest with those. So, and I never wanted Becoming Chiron to be an astrology forecasting podcast. Like that's just not, that's so far beyond and far from my original intention that I kind of, I let it get too far a little bit. And that was based on feedback that I'd received. And I have to chop that. So I'm not saying they're going away completely. They're just going behind the pause button. I do think that I will do some when there's astrology that's really important to focus solely on. I also, one thing that is staying as far as my free content, and also just, would you be willing to subscribe to just Astro-Weather checks? Like, I'm certainly open to that if I can earn some income from it or get more of an ROI on it, because right now, it takes a lot of effort for me to do those. It takes a lot of time for preparation, recording, producing, publishing, all of that. And the what I had wanted to come from, especially the ones that I had done since releasing the crowdfunding campaign on August 6th, I think it was just not there. So unfortunately, I don't want to give it up. I don't want them to go away, but as of right now, that's kind of what I have to do. But one thing that is staying is my Cosmic Connection weekly horoscopes, which also have a weekly summary, is what I call it in that, but it is essentially a weekly Astro-Weather check. It's a written version, but I'm still putting that out every week, and I kind of was duplicating my efforts a little bit and doing both of those. So the horoscopes will stay because they have the widest reach. I mean, when they get published in the Shore Local News magazine, that has a reach of potentially thousands of people. Plus, we put them out on Sea Goddess as well. So if you are not familiar with what I'm talking about, I started writing weekly horoscopes for our local in print and online, pretty much only weekly newspaper that we have at this point in South Jersey, called Shore Local News Magazine. They came out, it was pretty much timed with the Sagittarius full moon back in May. So I've been doing them almost 6 months. And the print version gets put out for free. So that goes in like every grocery store, Wawa, liquor stores, restaurants, like anywhere there's a newsstand that is available for them to put free newspapers. Like we have other things called like the auto shopper and stuff like that that come out also. But anyone who picks up one of those and goes to the back and has access to my horoscopes and weekly summaries. So that's a lot of people. That's a lot of eyes. And like I said, it also goes out to Sea Goddess. So if you are not on our email list or on our socials, get on there, because that's how you can get our or my Cosmic Connection weekly horoscopes. I'm toying with the idea of doing a video version of those as well. They come out every Thursday. So I could just do a quick snippet video of If you prefer a video format or just like this interaction better than either reading, because that's the only other way they're coming out right now, let me know. I'm open to feedback. I asked this question in the last set of horoscopes that got emailed out. I haven't heard back anything on that yet. So if you're listening to this and you would like to hear me read them or see me read them or just have a more interactive format for that, just let me know. I'm open to it. It won't take me that long. I already have all the platforms in place. I think they probably go up on our Sea Goddess YouTube. They would not be part of the podcast. So that's easy enough. And then it could be a video version that goes up on our socials as well, which would take a lot less time for our team to put together. So I'm open to it. But if you're okay with just with reading them in on our socials or in Shore Local, which I put a link to every time that we email them out, then that's cool. That's less work for me. It already takes me hours every week to put that together anyway. So, and it's free. So yeah, but then also too, like I'm now actively re-entering the workforce in some way at this point, also based on the results of the crowdfunding campaign. So if you are listening, if you are tuning in, if you know somebody or you are somebody that has a weekly publication, in print, online, social media, whatever, and you're looking for a horoscope writer, I'd be happy to hear from you, work with you, explore, see what we could do with what I'm already putting out there as far as the Cosmic Connection weekly horoscopes. So those are staying. All of my offerings are staying the same. We're actually going to be putting out some really nice holiday season discounts through Sea Goddess, so stay tuned for that within the month of November. And they'll probably go into the end of January. So yeah, there's that. I covered the name change. I covered returning to the roots. Yeah, and just a reminder, you get a weekly Astro-Weather check with every set of Cosmic Connection horoscopes. So the Astro-Weather checks will be behind the pause button as far as the frequency and the video versions and all that, but you are still getting them if you go to the bottom of the horoscope column. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to touch on with all of that. It's a lot for me, obviously. I'm like in this still in the crossroads, really. Also too, like my original intention and what I said in episode 39 was I'm trying to be as in alignment with this new path in my life as possible. So the work that I want is in astrology, in aromatherapy, in writing. I want to stay here. I don't want to go back to the corporate world. I don't want to go back to a job that has not as much meaning or fulfillment as this work has had and gifted to me, being fully in it now for a little over 3 years. So if you are out there, if you are listening, if you are tuning in and you are in need of professional astrology services, professional certified aromatherapy services, if you're open to exploring professional certified astrological aromatherapy, which is ideally what I want to be doing, I'm available. I'm here and yeah, that could be cool. So email me with either two things that I mentioned, weekly horoscopes and or my services, ursaalchemy@gmail.com, ursaalchemy@gmail.com. And that is also where you can send feedback on the ideas of the video version of the horoscopes and that kind of thing. Like I am all ears at this point. Crossroads, at the head of the crossroads for sure. A lot has fallen away. So time-wise, I can rededicate myself to new things. Um, and yeah, I'm just like kind of back in this unknown, maybe feeling a little lost, to be completely honest. But these are the times that it's the ripest for change. So change is in the air in so many different ways. So as we segue into the second part of today's episode, let's touch on all of that. So we have a full moon incoming on Friday. It'll be in Taurus at 4:28 p.m. here on the East Coast. It's a very important full moon because for two reasons. One, it is the last full moon in the sign of Taurus that we'll have with the planet Uranus in the sign of Taurus, and it's actually conjunct Uranus. So that energy together cohesively is completely amplified. So surprises, change, all that is on the table. It's ruled by Venus. Venus rules the sign of Taurus. Venus is now in the sign of Capricorn. So if you've been with me for a while, you know I liken that energy to Mary Poppins and just like being a boss and the kind of hidden magic that's in the sign of Capricorn. So this full moon, although it can bring things that are surprising, Taurus is a sign that relates to the physical world, but also our sensual experience. So things like money, property, possessions, the financial systems, that kind of thing, kind of all fall under the umbrella of Taurus. With Uranus right there at the time of the full moon, there might be something surprising that happens. That's just the energy of Uranus. So, and its effect on all the things that Taurus relates to. But the cool thing is, the moon is said to be exalted in the sign of Taurus. So there's a sweetness to it. It's usually, in the shadow side, it can be possessive and that kind of stuff. But remember the sensual experience of life. With everything that's going on right now, just stop and smell the roses. Seriously, like there is so much beauty around us at all times, within us, around us. It's a really good time with the energy moving into this full moon, with the energy that we're in right now, this week, November 13th of 2024. Take a breath. Breathe. Remember your human experience. Remember the sensuality of life. Remember the things that bring us pleasure. A good meal. Like we're getting into winter up here in the northern hemisphere, and it's time for like chilies and stews and soups and cozies and blankets, like soft fabric, weighted blankets, uh, just deliciousness. That's what Taurus is really all about. So I want to make sure that I bring that up because of the full moon that we have incoming. And then there's the dynamic between our physical reality and the unseen world with Scorpio and Taurus. So the sun's still in Scorpio. We're still in Scorpio season until next week. So just remember the energy. And then the other thing that's really important, not only is this the last full moon in Taurus, with Uranus and Taurus, Uranus will shift next year. Uh, it's trine Pluto. So if anyone's listening that's not familiar with the astrological aspects, trines are harmonious flows of energy. So Pluto, and I'll get to Pluto next. Pluto is sitting at the last degree of Capricorn, with it, which is also an Earth sign, where Venus is right now. The full moon will be, I think, 24 degrees Taurus, and Uranus is sitting around maybe 27 right now. I can't remember. But they're talking to each other. And Pluto is the planet of transformation and rebirth and purification. So not only is Pluto trine Uranus right now, which is a really interesting dialogue that I've touched on in many of the last Astro-Weather checks, but with the moon too, it's going to bring up the emotional qualities and parts of that. But g- grounding is a huge part of Earth energy. So the tagline that I gave this full moon, I wrote about it in the Astro-Weather, the weekly summary for this week's horoscopes, which will come out tomorrow, is grounded in change. I mean, I can't really put it any other way. So it's actually kind of exciting. And yes, Pluto is a destructive force as well. And Uranus is that spirit of rebellion and revolution. So we'll segue into that next, but those two are talking to each other. They have been for a while, and now we have the moon incoming to that whole setup as well. We have so many planets right now at the last degrees of their signs: Neptune, Pluto, Uranus. And Chiron's been involved in the whole story too. Chiron's been in the sign of Aries since May of 2018, essentially when Uranus moved into Taurus, like they changed right around the same time. And I've talked about this Chiron in Aries is all about healing our identity, collectively and personally. So that's a really important part of the energy as well. And it's sort of kind of like all of these outer planets, like Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are the outer planets. They are the transpersonal realm. They are beyond the physical. They are our connection to the divine. And Chiron's right there, orbiting, kind of connecting the transpersonal and the interpersonal, Saturn and Jupiter. So I also kind of want to touch on and remind everybody to the episode that I did, I believe it was May of 2024, when it was the Sagittarius full moon episode or the Gemini new moon, I forget which one. But Jupiter shifted into Gemini in May this year. And the one thing that I was driving home the most, I think, in that episode was Gemini is all about information. So I think one of the biggest things that I touched on in that episode was, how does information resonate in your body? We have this grounded Taurus energy there also. So really pause. Like there's so much flooding the channels right now, all of the channels. Detaching from it is okay. I think I mentioned that as well. But Jupiter expands anything Jupiter touches, and Gemini is all about information. So there's a lot out there right now. And it's really important to pay attention to your body's reaction upon receipt. And I will invite everyone to go back to that episode and re-listen to the guidance and advice that I gave with Jupiter and Gemini, because I knew that that was going to be challenging. Jupiter is it's opposite, Gemini's opposite Sagittarius. Sagittarius is one of the signs Jupiter rules. So technically Jupiter's in not in its own territory, it's in Mercury's territory. And right now they're actually opposing each other. We have a Mercury retrograde incoming. They're in mutual reception, it's called, when they're in each other's signs. So there's an interesting dynamic and interplay going on there for sure. And that will continue. We just had the Mercury retrograde pre-shadow last week. It started on the 7th of November. The retrograde will start on the 25th in the sign of Sagittarius, which is not where Mercury is happy, but it is truth bombs, but also like foot and mouth truth bombs is that energy of Sagittarius. But the dynamic between the two is really information, especially new information, Gemini, and the maturation of that into wisdom and philosophy, but that and religion and things like that. But that can go too far. They both can go too far. And right now, with Jupiter and in Gemini and Mercury and Sagittarius, they are showing us that where the information can go too far, too dogmatic, to self-righteousness, to extremism as far as things like religion and all the things that are under the domain of Sagittarius. So keep all that in mind as we're moving through November. Mercury will be in Sagittarius, I believe, until early January. I don't have the my list in front of me right now, but I'm pretty sure that's that. And then the retrograde starts on November 25th. So we have a Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius in a very heated time for the holiday season. So think of what we do during the holidays. Usually we get together with our family. So I think that it's really important to remember and maybe just do a little soul searching through all of this too, like receipt of information and how it feels in your body. And then just being open to have productive dialogues. Like, not everyone is right, not everyone is wrong. There's a common ground, and we'll get to this now with Pluto. I'm kind of going a little off course at this point. I didn't plan on talking about the Mercury retrograde, but I'm glad that it came up because it all relates. So we have that. Like I said, pre-shadow started November 7th. So that is in the cosmic energy right now. The Jupiter factor is in the cosmic energy right now. Those two being in each other's territories is in the cosmic energy right now. And both of them not being happy in each other's homes is in the cosmic energy right now. So there's that. And Jupiter can go too far as well. Like I touched on that. I invite you to listen to that Astro-Weather check that I did. So Pluto. So two huge things happening within this time frame. The full moon on Friday, Tuesday, November 19th. Pluto will finally secure itself in Aquarius for pretty much the next 2 decades. So it's a huge shift. I've been talking about it since Pluto started this dance back last year in March. Pretty much right on time when Pluto first dipped its toe into Aquarius back in March of 2023. It was March 2023 to June 2023, then it dipped back. It's been doing this dance for a while, and now it's finally securing itself in Aquarius. It was when all these companies just like pretty much on the day that it shifted in last year announced all their AI stuff. So that was really interesting. But I really want to kind of touch on this energy that we're moving into and what Aquarius is all about and what Pluto is all about. And we're putting those two together. I think it will help everyone right now in this time. And then the other part, the other chapter of this, the sub story, is the Mars story. So we also have a Mars retrograde incoming, and it's opposite Pluto. So that is not fun, kind energy. When those two have some kind of dynamic coming together in some way, whether it's an opposition, a conjunction, a square, whatever it is, it's going to bring shit up to the surface. And it's not always pretty stuff. But remember, Pluto's there to purify, and Mars is there to give us oomph. So right now, as I'm recording this, Pluto is sitting at 29 degrees Capricorn, and Mars is in the early degrees of Leo. So creating from the heart and having the courage and drive to do it is essentially what that energy is about. And pretty much anybody with Mars and Leo in their natal chart is a leader, whether they know it or not, in some form. So we have that energy as well. And it's in the pressure cooker because we have a retrograde coming up. So whenever we have a Mars retrograde stirring, the pre-shadow already started. I wrote about that, I believe. I think it was October 4th when that pre-retrograde started, pre-retrograde shadow. Mars retrogrades last a long time. They're roughly 2 months. It's going to start in Leo. It will end in the sign of Cancer, two very different energies, especially two very different expressions of the planet Mars in particular. But it's going to be opposite Pluto almost the entire time. So we are in this, people. We are in the thick of this. It is showing up on the grand global stage, the national stage. There can be, Mars can go too far, Pluto can go too far. So we have to be conscious of that. With, I'll put a link to the one piece that I did back in, I forget when it was exactly, but we had a Mars retrograde in Aries back in 2020. And now that I've been in this and studying this and learning about this for many years now, whenever we have a Mars retrograde incoming or starting, our sovereignty comes into play. So I want to remind everybody to remember their sovereignty. Nobody rules over you. You rule over yourself. That's what sovereignty is all about. We have these systems and structures in place in our reality, in our physical world, but I want everyone to reflect in this time, especially with all the range of emotions that everyone's feeling with what's going on in our own country, your own sovereignty, and maybe do a little healing work around this. We have the Chiron element. We have a simultaneous Pluto and Chiron return of our country happening right now, and we'll have a Uranus one incoming next year. And when the saying is always there's healing in the return. And with Chiron, as we know, since this whole project is devoted to Chiron, it's our healing journey, but particularly around our wounds. So this is a really good time to kind of do a little introspection and reflection on your own wounds and maybe where you haven't been able to heal or where you've avoided your own healing, or how those parts of you are coming to the surface now into your own awareness and how you're handling that. Are you projecting it? That's a big one right now. Are you taking advantage of what's coming up to sit with yourself, like put yourself in the freaking corner and do a little work around it because your identity is at the forefront of the energy with Chiron and Aries. So not only as a nation and a world, but us as individuals are in this really vulnerable yet powerful place right now of healing our identity, recognizing our own wounds around our identity and where they come from, where those wounds came from. And we're being handed back our own power. Like, look at where you've given your power away. Look at where you've given away your own sovereignty and what your reaction to that is now. Because what's happening, it doesn't really, it matters, but it really doesn't if you take it from a place of empowerment. And if you really want to take it to a place, because yes, we have government, we have things, we have laws, like I don't even want to get into that right now because like the true definition of things like anarchy is self-rulership. So I've been studying that a lot lately myself and feeling very kind of detached in a way from what's happening because I've come to this place where I can see the illusions of control and know that I'm in a place where I've been empowered and I rule myself. So I invite everyone to do their own work around that. That's going to look very different depending on who you are, where you've come from, where you're listening from. But it's an invitation to take your power back, essentially. And I just want to note too, astrologically, and I'm going to get into the Pluto thing next, I promise. But I just want to mention this because this is really important. The astrology right now of what's happening. The astrology that was supportive of things like authoritarianism and tyranny happened in 2020. The astrology that we're in now and the destructive forces that Pluto has brought to the sign of Capricorn since 2008, think about that. We're in a time of great change. We're in a time of finding a new way and working together to do that. The unity in humanity is where we're at, and raising our consciousness to a place where we can reinforce bonds to join forces together to make things happen. Being productive, letting things go that are no longer working, getting rid of sticking a pin in the air balloon of big government. I mean, Aquarius is an air sign. So I'll leave you with that. I also want to say and share the affirmation that's on today's Louise Hay I Can Do It calendar message for Wednesday, November 13th of 2024. It is an eagle soaring in the sky with a half moon, and I want to touch on that too. But the message is, I now release all expectations, knowing that life will always take care of me. So affirmations are a big one that can be helpful right now. If you don't subscribe to the Hay House email list newsletter, their CEO, Reed Tracy's been putting out some really helpful information and just really diving into Louise's work and how affirmations can help us with our current state, vibration, and healing. Because really, this is all about getting into where we're wounded in our own healing. And it's up to each of us to do that. And when we do, it ripples out into the collective. So we can do this personally and impact. You're not powerless. Just work on your own healing if you're feeling helpless. Seriously, it can have a huge impact, whether you can see that now or not. It's all about vibration. Everything is energy. And what we put out into the world, that's our reality. So we can change that as individuals. So on the moon on this page, it's a half moon, but it's the last quarter. So interestingly, that's not where we're at. But I feel like there's a message there that's a little bit deeper in this is when we're at the last quarter square, the half moon where it's bigger, where there's light on the left and not on the right. That is what's known as based on astrologer, I think it's Dane Rujar's work. It's a crisis of integration. It's a crisis of consciousness. So the fact that that's on the calendar page for today, even though we're heading into a full moon right now, we're at a waxing gibbous, is really interesting with this message. So take that also into consideration in the times right now. So I want to revisit Pluto and Aquarius from the Star Codes Astro Oracle. If you're listening to the audio of this, I'll describe as best I can the images on the pictures, on the cards, the pictures on the cards. And I'm going to pull in closing for us. We'll revisit these two. So we'll revisit the sign of Aquarius and what that's all about, and Pluto and what Pluto is all about. And then I'm going to pull for us a Sacred Rebels card because I feel like that energy is really, really, really important right now. And then a Raise Your Vibration card for everybody, just as a collective reading, kind of before we end today's episode and the change in direction and all of that, as that applies not only to me and this project, but also to all of us individually, nationally here in the US, and then globally as well. Change in direction. We are in the season of change. Grounded in change is the approach. So, Aquarius is known as the water bearer, but it's an air sign. And the symbol for Aquarius, it's card number 11, which is kind of cool, must say. It looks like electrical current. It's like parallel lines that are, if you've never seen the symbol, maybe spend some time with it. It's pretty cool. And Aquarius, the traditional ruler of the sign of Aquarius is Saturn. The modern ruler is said to be Uranus. I agree with that to an extent. But the image on the card is somebody holding a vat of like a beautiful like vase filled with water and pouring it into somebody else's cup. It's smaller, but somebody else is there holding up their own cup. So the water bearer is the illustration on the card. And it's really interesting because it's being poured from one that has more in it to somebody else that's willing to receive. So we have that. And for anyone watching the video, you can see that's the image on the card right there. We got Saturn there. So beautiful. And the message on this is collaborate. The symbol for Aquarius is not water, but the water bearer. The person fetching, carrying, and pouring the water, who provides a great service to the community. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn in traditional astrology, co-ruled by Uranus in modern astrology, and is connected to ankles, which we use to turn from one person to another in conversation. The sun shines through Aquarius January 21st through February 20th. Action. Live by your philosophy. Aquarius's traditional ruler, Saturn, asks us to know what society expects of us and to care about our reputation. However, Aquarius's co-ruler, Uranus, encourages us to free ourselves from tradition or others' opinions and be able to think outside the box. Yes, this can feel like a paradox, but it offers a healthy tension to manifest the true you. Know the pattern and riff on it with your own invention. To get to this free place, investigate your philosophy, which is your operating manual, to make sure it's alive and authentic. When you feel your worldview and your actions are integrated, it is easier to call in healthy collaborators. Cultivate allies. Find others called by the same causes and work together. Weave people together to create community. This web will bring in new friendships, purpose, and connections, which may lead to romantic sparks. Throughout the process, consciously maintain a balance between your own needs and those of the collective. Challenge. Spiritual practice and personal philosophy can be used to bypass authentic emotions. So be honest with yourself and don't try to talk yourself into feelings you think you should have or onto a path that others find more socially acceptable. If your philosophy clashes with your honest feelings, then your philosophy needs to evolve. If your lifestyle is not in line with your philosophy, then one or both need to change. Gift. The authentic Aquarius gift encourages you to let go of previous constructs and listen to the source within. Honor the reality that you are a unique individual, but you also have a responsibility to contribute to the health of your community. So there's that. This is the sign that Pluto is moving into on Tuesday for the next 20 years. Now, the Pluto card. Here we go. For anybody looking at the video, you can see it. For anybody not, it kind of reminds me of, I forget the name of those things, but it actually looks like an atom kind of, honestly. Like Pluto's the nucleus and there are the rings around it representing everything that swirls around. We got the symbol at the top, and then the message on this card is rebirth, and it's card number 27. And here we go with the Pluto card. So remember, this is the energy moving into the sign of Aquarius that I just read about. Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio and is a powerful planetoid that takes 248 years to traverse the zodiac. Pluto and Charon, or Charon, I don't know how it's pronounced, the largest of its 5 moons, circle each other and create a binary system. Most myths connected to Pluto, god of the underworld, have 2 major characters. The one who descends into the underworld to return reborn, and the one who either sends souls down to the underworld or greets them on arrival. From Pluto and Proserpina to Seth and Osiris and Inanna and Ershkigal, both sides of these myths, the use and abuse of power and the willingness to be reborn again into their empowered divine self describe Pluto's influence. Pluto was also lord of mining, retrieving valuables from deep within the earth. Action. Pluto calls for 3 actions. First, to dig deep. Second, to be willing to transform. And third, to use power wisely. Pluto calls you to drill down, dig up what is worthy, and bring it to the surface. Then rinse away the dirt and uncover the gold. Bring up riches whenever you dig deep into your soul's work. Notice obsessions and neuroses. These signs of stress must be listened to and healed, but don't allow them to control you. Pluto reminds you that you can't hold on to the past, but you can take care of yourself. To begin this work, you may have to let go of an old form, as a caterpillar must to become a butterfly. Mourn what you've left behind, then get curious about what is about to arrive. Examine the power dynamics of this situation. Never give yours away nor misuse your power over others. Step out of a power struggle and into self-empowerment. Challenge. Pluto's shadow side can bring up obsession, depression, mortality, and grief. Pluto plays hardball, so get a guide for this realm if needed. Spiritual gift. Pluto asks you In the face of life and death, why are you here? This isn't a rhetorical question. Strip down to the essentials and come back to what really matters to find the answer. So, Pluto in Aquarius, everyone. That's what we're moving into. We've had a preview, March to June last year, January to September this year. They felt very differently to me. This time around this year, when Pluto shifted, it really did bring up a lot for me personally. That was a really hard one, and this one's sort of similar, but I'm feeling optimistic about it. And I think that this is a serious invitation to really go within, do the Chiron work, recognize, as I shared in the beginning, what the own inconvenient lesson is in everything and reactions to things. And also, too, I think with Jupiter and Gemini, media and new quote unquote news fall in that domain. And there's a lot of manipulation out there. There's a lot of propaganda out there. There's a lot of things that go into that whole system that really aren't in the best interest of people. It's a business, remember. So think about maybe seeking out other sources. Or if you have a steady diet of one, take some nibbles on another. Like, one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about, and I don't know if this is a quote that I've heard or if this is something that I've sort of developed myself over the years with everything and, the division and unity rather than division is really what these two coming into play together is going to bring. But we have to be in a position to do that. Just the left, this is a quote that's been running through my mind, and with everything kind of being put out on the collective through, media and that kind of thing. The left wing and the right wing are on the same goddamn bird, part of my French, and it needs both to fly. Simple as that. So be the bird, empower yourself, heal yourself, and we will all get through this. Trust me. And then, like, too, with the Aquarius part of it, get on city council, get on local government, like, get in there and make some changes. Be the change, affect the change. That's part of the empowerment process too. But I think the being in the cocoon, being in the chrysalis, and everything the Pluto card really talked about that is going to be embedded in the Aquarian energy now is really important to kind of keep in mind as far as that whole alchemical process that needs to happen within oneself in order to come out on the other side reborn and more empowered. So the next card, we'll pull one from this, and then one from Raise Your Vibration, and I will leave you all today with all of these important messages and where I'm at. So Sacred Rebels deck, I love this deck, especially when we're in Aquarian or Uranian energy. So let's see what this message is. And these cards all have a healing process. And then while I'm shuffling too, just a reminder, we have a healing arts buffet of options available at Sea Goddess, whether it's working directly with one of us. Ooh, this card came out. Whether it's working directly with one of us, like we all each offer incredible reading offerings. Mandy is intuitive ascension guidance, which is really, really helpful right now, and self-empowerment to where we're at. Jess offers oracle energy and mediumship readings, so we can get messages from our spirit team and people loved ones that have crossed over to help us at this time. Astrology, if you don't know your own chart, like that is the best tool for self-awareness that I can think of. So there are all these healing tools that are available that we offer. Like we have a direct line to me right now, like to us. Like this is just such a powerful time to dive into our own healing journeys, like I said. So we also we have a downloadable classes library on there. We each offer our individual services, but we come together twice a month as a team in our Soul Garden membership, which is there for intimate one-on-one live reading sessions with every member and online soul circles. So wherever you are in the world or the globe, you can still join us. And that's only $11.11 a month. And there's a free 30-day free trial included. We have an incredible backlog of blog posts, soul broadcasts, ranging on topics from the most recent, which was Connect with Spirit While the Veil is Thin, which is the topic for November, all the way back to just reaping the rewards of harvest season or working with your dragons, or there's so much there. And like I said, we started a Substack, so we're now on that platform, and that's all free. Freely available, everyone, freely available. So there's all of that. We also have guided meditations. We have what we call soul spa services, which is an hour session with all three of us. So you can get a little taste from each one. I think that's only $144. And like I said, we're going to be offering a lot of sales and discounts and things. And I have the whole line of aromatherapy products that I created. So there are so many tools out there to help with taking your power back, doing your own healing, and with whatever challenges or difficulties anyone's feeling at this time. We are here for you. We've been here for you since May of 2021. So just a little nod to all the gifts and things that we offer as well at Sea Goddess. So as we get into the Sacred Rebel card, Power of Attraction, card number 13. So this is totally in the spirit of what I'm talking about. Look at these two people on this card and look at this magic they're creating together and all of the cosmic energies and the honeycomb and the hexagons and the structure created from. I mean, if you're just listening to the audio, this is a beautiful card with two figures on it. They're both of their hands are up, kind of like in the Aquarius image with the water bearer, one going into the other. And they've come together. Their hands are not touching, but they've created this incredible magic and sacred geometry and all kinds of things with ripples of water coming out as well. And just all this light. Like, this card is gorgeous. I don't know if I've ever pulled this card before. So here's that. And then from the book, so card number 13, which is kind of cool. Today is the 13th. And then this is what I was kind of getting at, the power of attraction, the law of attraction. We create our own realities. So our global reality is something we've created. The power of attraction. Card number 13, Sacred Rebels by Alana Fairchild. There is such wonder awaiting you. There are so many beautiful adventures and so much magic yet to be. Can you keep your heart open to what is coming towards you without surrendering your experience of this moment by becoming too future-oriented? You see, there is magic in this moment too. There is something arising within you out of the depths of your being. In this process, there is a shift in environment, both internal and external. A fertility is being stimulated. This is your time to play with that fertility, to conceive, create, and embark upon the process of transformation with an open heart and mind. You may not know where it is all going to lead. All you need to know is that it will be with wonderful and exactly, perfectly what is needed. Beyond that, allow the energy of fertile growth and abundance that now flows so naturally and richly within you and around you simply to be. You are a big soul, and with that often comes big dreams. You might worry what you want too much out of life. You might worry that you want too much out of life. Perhaps you think that you are only capable of small dreams. If you have drawn the oracle of big, bold vision as well, then this part of the message is highlighted for you. This oracle is guiding you to remember that there are stages of creation. A house cannot be built without the flooring. No matter how beautiful the stained glass windows you plan to install are, the walls need to be up first. Your big life dreams are a work in progress, just like you. If you have been working on healing something within you, started a new creative project, or just taken on a new job or relationship, and feel that although you are getting some results, you are impatient for more, doubt that you can continue or ever find the zone or become proficient in the situation at hand, then this oracle comes as a reinforcement. You are doing well. That which is worthwhile takes time to build. Celebrate each success, even the small ones. You are creating something of worth. Be patient, keep going, and trust. This oracle comes with a special message. You have recently completed a cycle or level of manifestation and are transitioning into the next level of experience. Like a big fish leaving the small pond and feeling like a rather small fish in a bigger pond, there will be some getting used to it time needed as you find your way. This will add to what you have already done and bring valuable expansion to your realization of your abilities, as well as many new relationships and opportunities to help you go further on your journey. What you are in the process of creating will benefit from this stage of your process. Whether your creation is simply your sacred life path, a particular creative work, or an actual child, there is a positive and constructive energy that is unfolding for you now. To boost this process and carry you further along the way, do you dare to dream and to believe in your dream until it manifests? Even if naysayers challenge you? Of course you do, Sacred Rebel. This oracle brings you guidance. You are going to attract whatever is needed to complete your work in progress and bring it to fruition. Remain open to receive and trust in the unfolding of your life experiences. Do not turn away. All of the necessary elements are coming together. Allow this integration to occur so that you can manifest your dreams. Healing process. This one's actually super long, and I'm actually glad. So let's go through this together. If you're in a position to do this now with me while I'm reading it, great. If not, then do it when you can and just use the replay. Close your eyes and relax. Imagine that you are in a wild desert landscape in nature in the middle of summer. The sun is hot overhead, and you can sense the aridity of the land. The green cacti sprouting with spikes and the strong heat rising from the earth in shimmering waves. How does this feel to you? Then you are in a red, golden forest with trees looking as though they are set on fire with vibrant colored leaves that fall to the ground, creating lush heaps of crunchy, colored debris. The air is becoming crisp and cool. How does this feel to you? The moon rises overhead, and you are in a winter landscape. Mountains of snow have fallen, and light, delicate snowflakes settle onto the heap as the dark night sky becomes clear and filled with endless stars. The dazzling aurora borealis begins to shimmer. Vivid green light swirls and shimmers, hauntingly beautiful, and dancing through the night sky. The sharp, cold night air is invigorated with light. How does this feel to you? Then you are in a lush, green landscape sprouting with new shoots and a warm sun caressing the earth. Lambs and rabbits frolic sweetly and playfully. Daisies and daffodils create a vibrant yellow blanket over the green grasses, and there is a sweet scent in the mild, warm air. How does this feel to you? Say aloud, I trust in the cycles of my life, my work, and my own spiritual growth. Through unconditional love, I thrive. When you are ready, just open your eyes and you have completed your healing process. Oh, I love that. I have definitely never pulled this card before. What a gift for me and for all of you as well. Thank you. Love that deck so much. Okay, last card and then we'll close out. This is from the Raise Your Vibration Oracle by Kyle Gray. I've been using this deck a lot lately and I absolutely love it. And I think this goes into the energy of the open invitation that we all have to raise our vibration. Clear your karma. I just pulled this for someone the other day. All right, so here we go, everyone. This is also super important. While I'm finding these are hard to find, so bear with me. They're not numbered. So they're actually sections. The deck is broken into sections. So this brings in the Saturn element, which relates to karma. Saturn's still in the sign of Pisces, everyone. So there's that as well as Neptune being at the last degree of the zodiac, which invites us all to see through the illusions and recognize our own delusions. So there's all of that energy as well. So the karma part is, I think, intricately woven into the healing process that we're all invited to do right now. Okay. Clear your karma. It's the light section of the deck. So let's see what this card says. And it's mostly purple, which relates to our healing journey for sure. So there's that. These cards are simple and cute. I love the illustrations. So your karma is in the little bowl here that the stick is holding that needs attention. All right. Our karma is made up of the stories we carry in our energy field that contribute to our reality. There's a good chance that some of these are limiting and untrue. Often these karmic blockages are negative ideas about ourselves that we project into our relationships or connections with others and then think others have about us. When you draw this card, the universe is releasing you from past experiences and encouraging you to release them from your field. It may help to have an open and honest conversation with whoever you feel has formed a negative opinion of you. By taking the time to communicate with them about this issue, you'll give yourself the opportunity to let go of the old story and create a better one. Don't hold back from doing this, for it will allow you to open up your energy to more light, abundance, and support. When you face challenging stories head on, you can release them from your energy forever and have a more centered worldview that allows you to navigate your future with clarity, free of the limitations of the past. Vibe of the day: I clear my mind and my karma. Beautiful. And that definitely goes into that spirit of unity and collaboration and not division. We all have karmic work to do individually, collectively. Powerful messages in the cards today, everyone. I love that. I'm glad that I pulled those decks out. Okay, so I'll leave it there for today. Remember the driving points of where we're at astrologically, especially. I will be back. I don't know when, but you definitely will have the weekly horoscopes available to you every week. I've been doing them consistently now since May. It's been almost 6 months, like I mentioned. Get on our email list. If you go to our website at the bottom, there's a subscription box, but also if you're on the page for a certain number of seconds, there'll be a pop-up. So subscribe if you're interested in getting them via email. Subscribe to Shore Local News Magazine. You can also get them there. And as well as our socials. Please, please, please let me know if you're into a video version, because that would be a lot easier for us at this point. And if people are receptive and wanting it, I'll do it. And that's free. Like I said, that'll stay free. So ursaalchemy@gmail.com to get in touch and give me feedback on everything that I've talked about today. And yeah, I think I'm kind of feeling like a Mars retrograde Astro-Weather check standalone episode is due and should be put out for everybody, but that doesn't really start until December 6th, I believe. So I'm kind of sitting with all this still myself, and I've already kind of laid out all the changes that I still need to make in order to get back on track with the podcast, and then also a job of some sort, like I said. So there's also that invitation for anybody out there tuning in, or if you share this with somebody that is a person that, you know, I could start working with or an organization, I'm going to reach out to some myself to be proactive in all of this. But yeah, I'm definitely kind of in my own chrysalis again to an extent, uh, facing the crosswords, like I said, and at the point where I need to take action on the things I laid out in episode 39. So that's what I've got for everybody today. That's where I'm at. I welcome feedback. Always, 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 always. I love feedback. I love hearing from people that listen with, like the answers to the questions that I've asked, or just in general, if this episode was helpful to you. You can leave comments on our YouTube, on Spotify. And then I'm not sure if you can on Substack, but I will find out once I get on there and actually publish this on there. So you can find Becoming Chiron on Substack, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube, and Substack pushes out to a couple other platforms. I wasn't able to reconnect it on Amazon Music, so that probably will go away now that I switch over. But yeah, I'm still feeling through all this myself. So thank you for being here with me, sincerely. Like everyone that showed their support in whatever way, in all the ways, since the early August. I'm so grateful. Thank you. And here we are. Remember your sovereignty. And as always, 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 as we always close out every single episode of this beautiful Becoming Chiron project, remember to be a maverick. Till next time.